So I have a question for you all. Who can tell me what it means to exaggerate? So an exaggeration then is what? It's sort of saying something that isn't literally true, but it's getting you to think about how important something is. Like you want to say that that cut or that scrape really hurts. And so you use exaggeration. You say, I'm dying! But you're not. But you want people to know that it's a big deal. And you want mom to come over, right, and help you out. What are some other examples of exaggeration? It can mean many different things, and that you say, oh, I'm dying because I cut myself or I scraped myself. Yeah. Overreaction. Okay. Overreaction. And when you're overreacting, right, because you want people to pay attention. You want your parents to pay attention, right? Or maybe your siblings. What are some other examples? Can you think of any others? Yeah.
Exaggerating.
Yeah. I know, it's kind of a complicated idea.
Yep, like exaggerating. If you're saying, sometimes you just might be saying it in a really like a tone where it doesn't sound, where it sounds like you're exaggerating.
Oh, so not just the words, but sometimes how you say the words can really make it seem like you're overreacting. Yeah.
Like you're saying that you like something, but you're doing it in that tone where somebody knows you're not.
Oh, like you're being sarcastic. What about this one? Have you all ever heard this one, or maybe you use it? I'm starving! Has anyone here actually ever been starving?
Yeah, starving like
No, you haven't. You're hungry, yeah, maybe you want to have lunch, but you're not starving, right? Maybe you're even really hungry, but that's not starving, is it? Yeah.
I always think of starving is like if you have any
In days, right? Like you really don't have any food. Yeah. What did you want to say? Did you want to say?
Starving can also mean like, you're out of hunger.
You're out of hunger, is that what you said?
Yes.
Like you're really, really hungry, right? Yeah, that's how we often use it. Parents, do you sometimes say that? I'm starving. Are you literally starving? No. So the truth is, we actually use exaggeration all the time in various ways in our life because we want people to pay attention. Pay attention to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is important. Well, even Jesus sometimes exaggerated because he wanted you to pay attention. So here's an exaggeration that Jesus says today. If your hand causes you to stumble, cut it off. Exactly. Do you think Jesus wants you to literally chop off your hands if they cause you to stumble? I can think of, that's a little dramatic. Right. I can think of a way that a hand can cause you to stumble, like when, I don't know, you get angry at your brother or sister and you hit them with your hand. Has that ever happened? Yeah?
You can't hold the knife if both your hands are cut off.
Well, that's true. There's some logistical problems with that. We won't get into that. But I am pretty sure that every one of you has used your hands in ways that you shouldn't have. And you've even maybe been told, keep your hands to yourself, right? Anyone ever said that? So is Jesus saying that if we use our hands badly, then we should cut them off? No. Or what about this one? If your foot causes you to stumble, cut it off. So dramatic. It's so over the top. Does Jesus really want us to cut off our feet?
No, because you couldn't.
You couldn't walk. But sometimes you could use your feet maybe to hurt somebody, or you could use your feet to walk away from somebody that you're angry at rather than finding a way to restore the relationship. So even your feet can cause you to stumble. Anyone ever experienced that? Yeah, okay. All right. And if your eye causes you to stumble, tear it out. Uh-oh.
That's a bad idea.
That's a bad idea. Does Jesus want you to tear out your eyes?
Cut off your hand, you would
No, he's being dramatic.
cut off your hand, you would survive. If you cut off your foot, you would survive. If you pull it out your eye, would you not?
Yeah.
Automatically die.
But sometimes the eye can cause you to stumble, can't it? Like when you're looking around at stuff in a toy store and you're like, I want that. Buy it for me. Has that ever happened? That's called greed. Wanting more and more and more and more. And your eyes can be a way in which you can give in to greed. The truth is, all of us in different ways stumble sometimes with our feet, with our hands, with our eyes. We stumble in the sense that we act in ways that are not in line with God and God's law, which is about how we should live in this life, which can be summed up in two things: love God and love your neighbor. So if Jesus is not being literal here, and he's not telling us to literally tear out our eyes or cut off our feet or cut off our hands, why is he speaking like this, do you think? That's how he feels. Yes, he's getting at something deep. What do you think?
It's not good to do that.
Right. It's not good to do those things. He's trying to say, pay attention. I'm dying here, people. Pay attention, right?
Yeah.
Pay attention to how your feet and your hands and your eyes, how your body can pull you away from the love of God and the love of neighbor. Now, why is Jesus doing this? Does he want us to just feel bad about ourselves? What do you think? Does Jesus just want you to feel bad about the stuff you're doing that isn't right? No. He's trying to teach us good things to do in life, and he's saying to us, notice the ways that you mess up, but remember, I am always here to love you and to forgive you. And we heard about that in our reading from James today. Did you all catch this? The prayer of faith will save the sick, and the Lord will raise them up. And anyone who has committed sins will be forgiven. The good news, what we call in the church the gospel, the good news is that no matter how we have misused our feet or our hands or our eyes, no matter how we have failed to love God and love our neighbor, and I'm sure we're all guilty in that sense, no matter how that has happened, God will forgive us, embrace us, accept us when we turn to God and say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I hit my brother with my hands. I'm sorry that I greedily wanted all the toys in the Lego store. I'm sorry that instead of finding peace and connection with a friend or someone else, I chose to walk away with my feet. God, I bring myself to you just as I am. And God responds, you are loved and forgiven. Go forth and live a new life. So it turns out, as scary as today's gospel reading was, it actually leads us to some good news about the love of God. And you can go forth now and you can tell people when you're reading this, next time you're reading this, I know it sounds pretty terrible, but God doesn't literally want you to cut off your hands or your eyes. Amen.